bit about what the Speaker of Parliament said about the law that established the Office of Special Prosecutor. He said that he has always thought it to be an exercise in futility. We're going to speak to Kofi Bentil, he's Vice President of IMANI-Africa. We'll talk to him about this. He joins us on the phone. Kofi Bentil, good morning to you.
Good morning, Kojo, and good morning to everyone.
Indeed, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Before we get into it, why don't we listen to what the Right Honourable Alban Bagbin said yesterday?
For the law you passed on the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, I did tell you that it was an act in futility. You were not going to achieve anything from that, but you went ahead to pass it. I disagreed with you, but I was alone. Well, I'm very clear in my mind that that authority is embedded in the powers of the Attorney General, constitutionally. Who delegated to who? No, but that is not what you put in the act. What you just need to do is to fund the office of the Attorney General well and remove the Minister of Justice. You separate the two. Minister of Justice is a political appointee. The Attorney General is a technical person, and he only is ranked in conditions of service to that of a Minister of State.
Morning Show. Right. Well, so yeah, that's the general thrust of it. Let's just start with the blanket statement that the law that was passed, in his view, was an act in futility. Do you see his point?
Yes, Kojo, I see his point. The truth is, the Speaker's position is very well appreciated. It was exhaustively discussed. There were many different viewpoints, and the conclusion was that much as it is within the authority of the Attorney General to do that work, over 50 years of our independence, that work has not been done by the Attorney General. And it's not for lack of trying, and it's not because the Attorneys General were not determined to do it. There were structural, real problems why that couldn't happen. So the Speaker's position was discussed at length, and the conclusions that some of us came to, those who were pushing the office of the OSP came to, was that we needed to take that piece out and create an arrowhead to focus on anti-corruption, going after people who were involved in corruption, who tended to be part of the executive. And it was anomalous that you're going to have an Attorney General who was essentially part of the executive going after their people. And I don't want to go into all the reasons there, but the first point to be made is that the Speaker's position is appreciated. It is a valid position, but it was sufficiently discussed, and it was decided that we needed to move in a different direction. See, the solution had not been found. The AG's office existed, but the problem got worse. We can't do the same thing and expect a different result. So what we needed to do was to find a different way. So we took some of that power and enhanced it to create the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I have to also say, one of the problems I think in Ghana over these decades of public policy, advocacy, is that we tend to want very quick solutions. How old is the Office of the Special Prosecutor? What has been the experience so far? We have had Mr. Martin Amidu, who came in. All of us were elated. I can tell you honestly that some of us were told that Mr. Martin Amidu may not be able to achieve much. And these are people who were close to him. We didn't listen. We thought, look, he was the greatest. We hailed him, and what happened. We now have Lawyer Kisile Jamin there. How long has he been in office? How well have we resourced him? But already I can tell you, Lawyer Kisile Jamin, the OSP, is doing things that were unthinkable in all our experience as an independent country. Some of the things that have happened in this short time were not things that we could have contemplated being done by the sitting Attorney General. So look, it is too early to cancel that office and call it a failure. We want results, but some things happen over time. And if you ask me, I think we are on the path. What we need to have is patience and to continue to work at it to make sure that this thing works. Look, If the solution has not been found, then we need to keep working to find it. And to find it, we don't have to be doing the same old things. There is nothing wrong with having an OSP. As far as I'm concerned, he is doing things that the AG never did and didn't have a chance to do. Not because the AG was bad or anything, but because the state of the situation itself was like that. The AG will not be able to do that work. I hear the speaker say we should have resourced them. We could have resourced them with everything. You can't expect the AG or the Minister of Justice to go after their own. And then we can go into all the reasons why that would happen. So look, in short, I think the speaker's point needs to be brought up. Let's have these conversations. But these conversations to remind us why we instituted that office. And then we have to have the patience to make it succeed. I believe that what we've done with the OSP gives us the best shot at institutionally fighting corruption. You know what? We've tried YOKO. We've tried Special Fraud Office. We still have CHRAJ. And we made some progress, but we haven't solved the problem. The OSP adds to that. Some of us are wary of adding more institutions to the existing institutions and the cost of government. But the OSP particularly is one of the offices that, if you ask me, I would say, let us save it. The evidence exists that he is working and that his work is having effect. I don't want to say some of the things that he has done already, but I think what we have to do is to support him and understand also that corruption fights back. So you don't expect that when he gets into office, everything is going to be perfect and he's going to just go ahead and then, like Batman or some superhero, you just kill corruption with one fell swoop. It will be long, it will be hard, and we have to keep at it until we get it right.
Now, of course, Speaker Bagbin expressed his views at the very beginning of the process, before the law was passed. Now, I suppose the question is whether the unraveling of time has proved him right or wrong. And let's be fair, this office has now had two very different people from very distinct backgrounds occupy it. One of them has resigned, calling his employer a mother serpent of corruption, and the other one is in the Ankwanuma phase of his career. If these two different people are both being frustrated in this office, then is it not fair to say that it is the establishment that is the problem?
No, it is not. Again, how long has that office existed? That is one. Number two, how long has the present OSP been in office? Number three, it is not sophisticated to expect that the OSP or the Office of the Special Prosecutor as an entity will have no resistance to its work. It is going after people to go and fight them. Okay, to take away things they have stolen. These are particularly determined people. And when it comes to corruption, they tend to be very powerful and very resource people. So how is it that anybody expects that the OSP gets into office and all of a sudden he solves corruption? My point is that, one, we have not had enough time with this office to call it a success or a failure. And in the short time that it has existed, given that we have already had two, one left in a disastrous fashion, and I'm saying there are explanations why he left. And indeed, before he was appointed, despite all of us hailing him, people who were close to him prophesied that he was not going to achieve much. That happened. The second person in office, in the short time that he has been in office, has achieved far more than most institutions in the public sector. So how does anybody say he failed? As far as I'm concerned, the evidence is there that he is working and his work is effective. And again, due process requires that you give people the time and every availability to defend themselves when they are charged with corruption. You can see the courts coming up and, pushing him back. That is due process. I agree with him when he comes to complain that the courts are treating him in a certain way. He has to also fight back. This thing is not a science. There is no perfection to it. So let the OSP push, let the courts push, let the people who have been accused push. That is how you fight corruption. It's called a fight. So I don't know how in these few short years we want to solve something we haven't solved in half a century. Okay, so again, the concerns are necessary. We must continue to have these discussions. We must continue to fine-tune this whole fight against corruption. But as long as we keep having the problem, we have to stay with it. I'm personally very satisfied with the work the OSP is doing. I think what we have to do is to have patience to let him succeed. It is way too early to call it a success or a failure. Definitely, the evidence is there that he's moving in the right direction.
You've said a number of times that he's achieved a lot. The second special prosecutor, Kisia Jabing, has already achieved a lot. Can you enumerate some of these achievements for us?
I'm actually sitting somewhere trying to have breakfast. But I can tell you, there's some oil refinery cases, some of the cases coming out of the Flagstaff House. In fact, it's easy for you to find the list of things he's done, declaring people wanted. Basically, the guy is fighting. And for you, I think you should be able to go and get some of the list of things that Jamin has done since he came into office. Clearly, he's put people under pressure. And he didn't do it, carelessly. Some of these cases, there were real situations that required he stepping in. In the case of Tamale Refinery, you have a situation where a very shady institution or entity goes in and basically takes over the oil refinery. The only one that we have, which is a major state asset, and is running it, and nobody knows the context, the contract or whatever, and the board says, well, we've done it, and you simply have gone in there and said, look, I have the authority to say that, hold on, give me every information that you have, and let me see whether this is in fact. That is how we fight corruption. And there are many situations where he has intervened. You can find a list. I still insist, as somebody who watches this space carefully, I insist, as somebody who was part of the conversation that brought up the OSP, that I am satisfied with the work. It is not time to call it a failure yet. And if you consider serious fraud office and many other anti-corruption institutions that we have created, the OSP is actually one of the best so far. So I am happy to wait and give him the benefit of the doubt and some more time to prove himself. And note that he will be fought against by courts, by people he is going up against, and even by the society. So let us allow him the time and the space to prove himself. It's early days.
So, Kofi Bentil, I mean, you've talked about it being early days. You've said it's too early. So when will be the right time to do the kind of assessment that already the speaker started doing?
The speaker's conversation is necessary. Those of us in civil society, leaders of our nation like the speaker and other prominent persons must voice out. I think that's proper. But the OSP law itself requires the OSP to more or less account to the people, I think every 6 months or so. You journalists have a major responsibility. So it's not about let's assess him over 5 years, over 10 years. Let's continue to do these kinds of ad hoc assessments and discussions around his office. But when he comes to issue his report, I think twice a year or so, let's take it up and then interrogate the issue. We will be able to determine as we move along whether he is doing right or wrong. And note that the OSP can be removed. If we don't think he's doing a good job, we can remove the person. We don't have to scrap the office. If we continue to have a corruption problem, let us appreciate that we have to continue to work to fight it. Corruption is a real danger. In other places, it has led to civil war. And so we should not play with it until we've solved it. And by the way, nobody can perfectly or totally eradicate it. We will have to bring it to the barest minimum, make sure it is a very high-risk thing, and people should be very afraid if they go near public resources. And we need officers like the OSP to be a present danger to people who want to act corruptly. And as for when we should assess them, let us keep doing it on an ad hoc basis. In the law, there's specific times he has to come and report. Whenever those reports come up, let us all get up and ask him questions. And let us make demands of him. So I think over time, we'll get to this. Nation building takes time. And we have to take the time and patient price.
Resources were an issue for some time. Until 2022, when the budget allocated, the finance ministry allocated 194 million in the budget, in the 2022 budget. Next year, about 149 million will be spent on the office of the special prosecutor. In your candid assessment, in terms of value for money, would you say we're getting returns?
Again, it's early days. I personally think that we need to give him every resource that he requires to do his work. But I also think that there is a point where it becomes excessive. We We haven't gotten to the point to determine that. For now, we need to just bear in mind that the accusation of Lawyer Martinamido that his office was not being resourced, he has been left alone, and all the things he said, has been sufficiently removed by the government going the extra mile to resource this OSP. I can tell you also that there may be other things that the OSP wants, which he doesn't have now. So for me, it's good that the government is determined, or at least is taking steps to make sure that the OSP lacks almost nothing. I kind of have a feeling that fighting corruption should not cost us that much. But everything at the beginning tends to be expensive because you are, involved in capital expenditure. I have been to their office. I have had meetings there, and I think the edifice that they occupy, a multi-million-dollar edifice, may be a bit much. But at least it leaves them no excuse that we don't have a space to work in. So now, having given them everything they want, we can also now go back and exact from them what we require. And like I said, the institution can remain. If we are not happy with the people, we can change them. So in terms of resources, there is good news. The government is giving them a lot. And we are hoping that over time, they will make economic sense of what we are spending on them. Note also that corruption costs us billions of dollars every year. So if you take a fraction of that to fight corruption, we have not lost anything. And what we have to do is to send a clear message that this country will devote all the resources we need to devote to fight the people who are breaking it down. That message is important. So I am happy so far with the issues of resourcing. I just hope to get to a point where the OSP does not have any complaints, concerning what they need to do their work.
Right. I want to say a big thank you to you, Kofi Bentil, of course, Vice President of IMANI-Africa, speaking to us on the issue of the Speaker of Parliament's reiteration of a position that he shared at the time the OSP bill was being considered, that it was an act in futility. Of course, we'll be back to hear from you, because it'll be your turn to tell us what you think about this conversation. Where do you stand on it? Act in futility, or can it actually yield results in the fight against corruption?
This is an anonymous text message that I got. And this looks like from a member of parliament that says, "I'm extremely surprised with the comments attributed to the speaker regarding the OSP. I recall clearly that as a member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of the 7th Parliament with Honorable Bagbin, then second Deputy Speaker, the committee that considered and recommended the OSP bill to the plenary for approval, Honorable Bagbin's remarks during the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill at Koforidua, this is what Bagbin said: "What monster are we creating?" in reference to the extensive powers that had been given to the OSP. I do not recall Honorable Bagbin's contribution to the debate on the floor. However, how a monster is all of a sudden an act in futility beats me. Consistency in thought and expression of same by senior public officials is a good virtue.
Hey. Okay then. So, well, do you agree or disagree that the law that established the office of the Special Prosecutor was an act in futility? Call us and tell us. 0302 216 541 055 1111 997. Let's hear from Chidiak in Southla. Hi Chidiak, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
So where do you stand, my brother?
First of all, Mr. Kisi is doing a very good, difficult job. So we should understand it like that. 2, why don't we introduce death penalty into corruption? Anybody who touches the state money, death penalty, 50% of our money will be protected immediately. And 3, when you catch a criminal, he's a suspect. Until beyond proof, before he's a thief. You have caught the person with a thief. He's a thief. He must defend himself that he's not a thief. Immediately we correct these things, I think we'll make a headway. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidiak. Joseph is on the line from Nungwa. Hi, Joseph. Good morning. Good morning, Joseph.
Hello. Good morning, Kojo.
Thanks for calling.
As I think my point of view is very simple. We have created a monster for ourselves which is completely not going to solve the problem. As the speaker said, the office of the special prosecutor is actually not going to deliver to stand apart with the Attorney General, who is at the same time the Minister of Justice. Until we correct that position, we are not moving forward.
Thank you, Joseph. Thanks for sharing. That's pretty much an echo of what the speaker had to say. Freddie is in Accra. Hi, Freddie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where do you stand?
Yes, I think the Honorable Speaker of Parliament has the right to express his opinion. That does not necessarily conclude that what he is saying is right. If you compare what the analysis done by Honorable Bryce Simmons, it was such a succinct one, that a person is working, the office is working. So we should allow the office to stay. You don't expect to harvest mangoes in 6 months compared to maize. So we should give it time, resource it, encourage the officers, and allow them to work. Of course, corruption, in the words of Honorable Domlevo, he says that corruption will fight you. So if corruption is fighting back, it is not strange. But definitely, justice will be won. So we encourage him. He should keep fighting. He will win. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Freddie. Let's go to Mampubi. Hi, Nicholas. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what I read on the speaker's comment was that he said the OSP was not supposed to be under, how do I call it? I've forgotten the name.
The Attorney General.
It's all under one of the ministries.
The Attorney General.
What I wanted to say was that the OSP was supposed to set out to be independent of all those ministries, and that will work perfectly. And I think that's what I believe in. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nicholas. Thanks for sharing. All right. Isaac James is in Abokobi. Hi, Isaac James.
Good morning, KY.
Good morning to you. So, this matter.
I'm missing you. And good morning to my friend Raymond and the ancestor, my neighbor.
Good morning, Isaac James.
In fact, I don't agree with the Speaker of Parliament. I think the office of the Special Prosecutor is very important, and at least we are making progress. Even though we have not achieved what we want to achieve because of not being supported by the government which set it up. I think building upon what the achievements so far will help this country in the future. So it is that, as Mr. Simmons said, we have to, all of us have to come together to support the OSP, just as Joy, we are always doing. Other stations should also come up to always talk about it and the issues that he brings out. And I think this could help this country going forward. Because from Martin Hamidou to Kisi Ejabin, you can see that these men are fearless and credible. So if we continue getting people like this in that office, we will make very, very good progress to help this country fight corruption. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isaac James. Kwesi is in Kaswa. Hi, Kwesi.
Yeah, hello.
How's the People's Republic of Kaswa today?
They are doing well. God every day.
That's right.
Yep. I side with the speaker in that we already have courts existing who could equally do the work of this special prosecutor. I think that's all that.
Okay. All right, Kwesi. Thanks for sharing. And look, it's our very own Papa Bisu from Ofanko. Papa Bisu, it's been a while, eh? How are you?
My brother, it's been a while, my brother. It's really been a while. But special greetings to you, my brother, and the team members within Samuel, Damien. May Almighty God protect and bless you all.
You too.
For the good work you have done for Ghana. No, I agree with the Speaker of Parliament. He is looking at it in a way that he has explained it. You see, the Attorney General is the one supervising the OSP, and that when it comes to having the Attorney General's own being prosecuted, are you getting my point? He may come in in some way. But to be frank with you, this particular man, Kisi Ijabe, is doing so well. Are you getting my point? And similarly, you can realize that he's speaking the same language like Martin Amidu. He has described the president as mother's evidence of corruption. And he is now saying that, and this month, he's saying that he's been left alone. Think about it.
Oh, sorry.
As if, look at it, he's trying to say that it's been left. How did he put it?
Yes.
It seems as if the system too is fighting against corruption, but the system is not helping him to achieve that particular goal. So now he's saying that he's been left alone. It means that we need to check that system that is not making Kisi Ejabe to be fruitful in what they call it, the job that he's doing. In fact, if the president wants to go the announced principle way, there's a need for the president to do more by telling his appointees that please give Kisi Ejabe a chance to help this country eradicate corruption. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, Papa Bisu. All right, Ajidome is our next stop. Ishmael is on the line. Hi, Ishmael. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Tell us what you think.
Well, I think that fighting corruption geared towards reducing waste in the system. If we have institutions that are already created to fight corruption and they are not able due to lack of resources, I wish that we resource them than to create more that will increase our expenses whilst we are thinking of reducing it. If the Attorney General's office will be strengthened to work, why not we do that? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ishmael. Hey, today all the regulars are coming out. Ajman Joseph from Tema. Hi, Ajman.
Yeah, Uncle, I hope you're doing well.
Not bad at all. God bless you.
Yeah. I think in the judicial service, there has been a lot of massaging and issues among leaders and in government. If we are to consider the law and see the law as it is, I think a lot of people must be prosecuted by now. But they use some articles to cover themselves, to save themselves from trouble. To fight corruption is very difficult because you don't call a spade a spade. If you someone who award a contract for a contractor to do it, and because of the first percentage, the road is not going to be good road for us. Few years, then the road is spoiled. So we check who watches the watchman. It's a problem, but God will that.
All right, thank you, Ajman. Abu Muhammad is in Japan. Hi, Abu.
Hello, good morning.
Talk to us.
Yes, they say corruption is fighting back. So, in what formula? Where is that corruption that is fighting back? What technicalities is corruption using to fight back? I want to get it. They say corruption is fighting back. So, in what formula? In what context? What are his strategies?
What are corruption's strategies?
Yeah, they say corruption is now fighting back. We now see the guy fighting corruption. We see the guy fighting. So who is he fighting? And they say corruption. And now they say now corruption is also responding. So in what formula? I want to understand. I'm confused because they say corruption is fighting back. So I want to see how, in what context, please educate me. In what formula? In what context? What are his strategies, the technicalities behind?
Okay, all right. We'll see if we can help with that. Jackson is in Cape Coast. Hi, Jackson. Good morning.
Morning, Kojo. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Yeah. Kojo, fighting corruption is easy, but we make it very difficult. Kojo, I think you can remember your secondary school time. All of you write your name on your dress. Why? because somebody will steal your own. We have to start from our various homes and teach our children that what not belong to you is not for you. You should not take it. And the speaker, whatever the speaker is saying, it's not only the OSP alone. No. Do you know that we have Narcotics Control Board or Narcotics Control Commission? The same narcotic unit is the police people, custom. We have Ghana Fire Service, but military have the same thing over there. I don't know what is wrong with this country. May God help this nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Jackson from Cape Coast. All right, Kweku is in Dansoman. Hi, Kweku.
Hi, Kojo. Good morning.
Good morning to you, my brother.
Honestly speaking, to me, I think the OSP is the one fighting himself. Let's ask ourselves, if he's doing his private job as a private lawyer, will he pursue this case in the same manner that he's doing? He arrested somebody, he sees his treatment, the money, everything, and you know that after seeing the money, there's a particular time they have to declare before the time ended. You refuse to do all those things, and you know this. And in your court of law, we speak law, not the truth. We speak law. So based on that, the judge use the law to judge the case, and you cannot complain that the judge is fighting against you. I don't know whether he's conniving with the government official, because they know that is what they're supposed to do. But they won't do it so that they go to court, they throw it away, then they come back and cry. We are not case. The Jabi we know is very happy that we are students. I bet you this is not how I had the agenda. He himself, we have to watch it clear. Thank you.
Conspiracy there. Thank you, Kweku. George is in Kumasi. Hi, George.
Hi, Kojo. How are you?
I'm okay. You?
Oh, by grace, I'm also okay.
Amen.
Thanks for asking. Kojo?
Yes, sir.
Corruption is a whole cartel. So we will not be expecting to fight corruption on a silver platter. By all means, corruption will fight back. So we don't have to give up. You see, these corrupt people, they don't even mind offering the prosecutor $1 million. So if he don't take time, they can even corrupt him. So the courts are there. When he loses in court, he should appeal. So if we stop, that is going to be the end of this nation. So we have to keep the office and keep fighting. I know we will surely win. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I think we have time for one more call. Let's stay in Kumasi. Ken, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
Thanks for listening to Love FM. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Kojo, it's been a while.
It has.
We will talk on the other side.
Hear you.
Kojo, you see, I've always been like, we can never fight corruption in Ghana because it's like asking the devil to deliver us from evil. It's the same way they are like, or the man is saying corruption will definitely fight you back, because those that are supposed to be on check help us deal with this issue. They are the very people doing it. So God should come and then save Ghana. That's all that we can all hope for. Good morning, Kojo.
Good morning, Ken. And thank you for calling. Thanks to all of you who have called us this morning. We appreciate every thought you've shared. Callers actually said something, said that he agrees with the speaker, but then added that he thinks the courts can do the job that the special prosecutor has been asked to do. I suppose we should clarify that courts don't investigate, courts don't prosecute. Someone has to do that
and take it to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And bring
for
it
that
to
to happen.
Bring the case to them.
The part perhaps where the courts have been, if the court takes the view that we are all having a big corruption problem, so at some point in time, remember when we said we have a lot of rape and other issues, we made it non-bailable.
Yes.
Along the line, we changed it. Then when we made those laws, we're basically telling the judges that it's your responsibility to implement this law. Don't make it, don't give bail to them, right? So they also took a cue from that. If we tend to push judges in the corner, making them activists one way or the other, I don't know if that's the kind of society we want, but society decides that. It's our collective decision to make some of these decisions. It comes to that same point I want to make.
Yeah.
What is the problem we are seeking to solve? Reducing corruption, right? That's the problem we are seeking to solve. It's because if we don't make it high risk, people would engage in it, because they will do the calculation and realize that if I engage in the corrupt practice, I end up benefiting more than lose now. But the states lose will be the biggest loser at the end of the day. If we are people who are mindful of our roles to our republic and our responsibilities, and we believe in the values that are being inculcated in us right from the beginning, we will not be having multiplicity of institutions seeking to solve a problem that we never get to the bottom of. Perhaps we should ultimately be looking at the societal fiber or structure that guarantees people's safety within corruption, that makes people more willing to be corrupt than do the right thing. If we fix that, again, there won't be a need for a lot of institutions to attempt to do what we could do if we fix the foundation of this society. What is our collective view as a people on what values we need to protect our people with, what we should push to get the people right from the time they are born through to the time they live on this earth? What values, why are they on earth? Are they here to amass wealth, or they are here to contribute their good to the development of their people and also the collective good? If we're able to fix these foundations, we surely will not be having the superstructure conversations about how many institutions are required to fight the corruption.
Look, the long and short is this. As a people, we have to decide whether we want to fight corruption or not.
Yeah.
And since we say we want to fight corruption, let us go ahead and fight it. And since we say we want to fight corruption, let us give the institutions the needed support in fighting corruption. But for these institutions also, let it be on record that you would not get everybody this helping you fight corruption. And so let the OSP not expect that everything he wants would happen. No, after all, the OSP could also be wrong. And that's why there will be checks and balances. The whole idea of the courts is to ensure that the OSP also does the right thing. And so, if you're unhappy with the courts, if you're unhappy with the High Court, go to the Appeals Court. If you're unhappy with the Appeals Court, go to the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court gives a ruling or a verdict that you're unhappy with, go for a review. That's how you do it. And I mean, once you exhaust everything, then at least we'll all come to the conclusion that what you're doing, per our courts, is wrong.
You know, I asked Kofi Bentil a question about the fact that two very different people with different backgrounds have held this office, and both of them have talked about frustration. And Kofi Bentil, in talking about Martin Amidu, said that there were many who didn't expect Martin Amidu to achieve much. That, I wonder if we can take a minute to realize how strange a position that is. That the man who single-handedly got a verdict in the Wuyume case, the man who as Attorney General went to and from court in pursuit of all kinds of cases against all kinds of people and had an admirable record in that field, was expected to achieve nothing. I mean, I want us to think about that. The people who expected him to achieve nothing, what made them have that expectation?
That was an impossible task.
Right? Right? Now we have Kisia Jabing, a completely different background here. Also known for his grasp of criminal law. He comes along and we start to see his complaints of frustration, not leveled at the executive this time, but at the courts. Now, I think maybe because we've taken, he vented his frustration in one press release, so we have perhaps looked at it as one issue. But normally when someone criticizes the judgment of a court, we take it case by case. Normally we would say, okay, in this case, when you say the judge was wrong, do you have a point or not? In that case, when you say the judge overstepped his bounds, do you have a point or not? Have we done that exercise? Has the Judicial Council engaged? Have we ironed out those specific issues that this special prosecutor is raising? Or have we taken them as one blanket Ankwanoma portfolio and said, "Stop whining, go and do your job"? Have we dealt with the issues? It's still to be seen. It's still to be seen. But I am glad the conversation is happening, because look, whether it was an act in futility or not, it was an attempt. It is an attempt to fight corruption. And if it's not working, can we fix it? Can we make it work?